Hey guys, today we will be speaking about specifics of Nakamichi decks. Uh, I had restored this nice 681 ZX and was listening it for a week, doing some recordings. And one day I left it recording like for half an hour, like 30 minutes, like 60 minutes tape, like one side half an hour, and just go away. Like return in 20 minutes and like wow, it was like smelling like shit. It was hot transformer, and I was looking what's going on really. You see now it just recorded couple songs and everything is fine, no more issues. But you remember those orange capacitors we made with polypropylene? So what's happened? Our bias generator is here. So there was like four orange capacitors. They get failed, and they've been failing probably slowly over time. And the previous guy who was trying to restore it actually shorted one of the adjustment options, like for biogenerator, and as a result, it gets like too much bias. That's where I like last time I was trying to tune it up, and I can find enough high frequencies on the recordings because it's just not enough, really. And like I was unscrewing, it was like on the bare minimum. And right now, if you may see, there, let me give more light. All those options are like 2 o'clock, so we good with bias. We found our high frequencies, so we have a plenty of high frequencies in the reserve if we need to. But what's next? Like when capacitors failed, next step it's generator stop working and transistor gets stale in the state with a high current, and these resistors here. Let me zoom in. Bring some light. You see these two big guys on the long legs. Actually, they are quite warm in a normal state when they're working, but when they get into one of them been shorted, like there is a factory tuning parts which you can short. So the guy who was trying to fix it shorted the part, and like they get extremely hot. And the next step here is the transistors, which are tuning on and off by generator. One of them fails, and generators start to work like permanently. And next we get a high current, we get our transformer get very hot. Then I believe we get our capacitors, the large one getting hot, they get leak and it started to smell like a shit, really. So I believe that's the chain of events. So I had to replace all large capacitors on this board altogether, like 6800 Boss, like the one here for audio piece. I replaced it with 10,000 Nichicon, the big guy. Let me see if I can make a better light. No, it doesn't. So it's 10,000 now. It's 2200 here, 6800 there, and another 2200 underneath this board. And now, like when I have replaced it, transistor, capacitors, everything, I removed the short in the pads, and all parameters get up to specs. So it's currently records and plays so nice that I'm considering not to sell it really. I pretty much like how it sounds. I probably would need like a big push like to make this decision if I would. So that's, I believe, how things developed. So over time, those capacitors has been failing. The guy who tried to fix did it worse versus replace capacitors. He started to play with bias generator. I can get a bigger bias than it's needed, so it was not possible to properly regulate it here. and like one problem after other problem after other problem, we get like broken deck. It was not recording unless I replaced everything here. Now, with this new high capacitors, like with 10,000, it's extremely quiet on the recording and playback, so there is no any noise at all. So this older deck sometimes has a little bit of like noise from different circuitry or like from the motor. I have seen it. I've been replacing capacitors myself, like in the motor circuit. But now like it's extremely quiet. It's up to spec. Everything is in here. I'm pretty happy. So I hope this would eliminate your smell on your Nakamichi decks. Go ahead, replace these orange guys. I still see there is couple, but there is not so high voltage. So maybe 2, 3, 4 here, like 2 guys here. So we'll see how it goes. I think like it's probably worse. Like I don't care about like 10, 15 volt circuitry, but this like when there is 100 volts, this definitely needs to be replaced immediately. This will save your like lots of time and health in the future, so you would be so nervous about what's going on. And specifically this terrible smell, like it was terrible. I had to remove those capacitors to eliminate it. So here is the big guys I removed. So they on the factory had this big guy 6800 for audio circuitry, complemented from the down below. Here you see the factory glue with another 2200. So I just replaced it all over with 10,000. So it's work even better. And these 2 guys from the 16 volts, like this one and this one. Those are from power supply for motors, and this another 2200 for negative voltage for the audio circuitry. So that's it. So this is a failed guy. I had to order replacement. Be careful, this guy needs to conduct at least 400 milliamperes because if you will read through the Nakamichi manual, it says that you need to set a rising bias at 350 milliampere. And I replaced it with guys from Amazon, so with 8550. Those can handle 1.5 ampere, so it's just even better. Those are capable to switch on and off our bias generator easily. That's how things are. I just checked the recording on every type of tape, and it's unbelievably good. So I hope this helps. The guy who was chasing me like to sell this deck, you see it's a good thing that I tested it at least for a week, maybe a little bit more before it failed. So now even if I will decide to sell it, it would not fail in your hands. So that's what I'm mostly doing. Like I'm trying to use decks for a couple weeks to see if they are good enough and there is nothing major happens, then probably I sell. So those guys will be going for selling soon. I have like too many of them. Those guys I will be like doing preliminary check like over again, so I didn't use them for a while. And if everything's fine, probably will put them on sale either. So thanks for your attention and see you soon. Bye bye.